for a minute, because there might be some young writers out here, or possible future writers, or somebody who was writing and wants to get back into it, and they're hearing this and getting inspired right now. So let's talk for a second about the discipline of writing.
hmm Yeah, there's a lot of different approaches to it. And I think, like everything, you have to find what works for you. I've read, different people's ways they do it, and you have to also adjust for the seasons you're in. But my best writing time is in the morning. So I have my morning routine. I have a certain time frame. Loosely, I need to be at my desk, and I give it until lunch. So I get in 3 or 4 hours before lunch. And once I eat lunch, then the energy starts waning. And so I save that for the housework and the, other things, even gardening, things I love, but that don't take the mental focus of writing. So that's what works for me. Some people do it when they first get up. I need to eat and have coffee, have my quiet time. I need to do a few things first, still, just to get rolling. But some people
write.
Same
spot? Do you go to the same spot all the time?
Yeah,
or do you?
I do.
Okay, so that you're one of
right
the people
here
that goes to the same spot. Oh, right here. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Right here where you see me. I have, on occasion.
Inspiration.
Yeah, right here, just because it's my desk and I can shut the door. And we live in the back wing of the chateau that we live in, and the rest of our ministry colleagues live attached. They can't get into our house without coming around, but there's people in and out of our house a lot, and so if I'm in here with the door shut, I know I won't get interrupted and or drawn into things. I like these people, so it's not even like they're just rudely interrupting me. It's like I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? And then I'm distracted. And so if I'm in here, the door is shut. My husband doesn't even come in unless there's something urgent, and it's just my set apart time. And I have tried different ways of saying I'll get this many pages done or this many words done. That has worked, but I don't do that. It worked for me for a while. And when I was in it was a sticky point, and I was just like, okay, you have to write, I forget what it was, let's say 500 words, which is like a page. It's not even that much. And then usually once you do that, you do more. Or I'd say I only have to write for a short amount of time, and then usually you do more. But so I've tried all those kinds of things. Now I think I've really developed a habit. If I'm at my desk between 9 and 10 in the morning and I'm going to write until 1, and I really try to not do the other writing related things during that time. There's a lot right now. I am doing other writing related things because I just finished a book. But when I'm in the full writing, and I'm going to start book 3 pretty soon, but I'm not quite ready. I just finished book 2, and I'm doing all the publishing and publicity stuff for book 2. So I am doing that now, but generally I save that for other parts of the day as well. So I give my best brain energy to the time I have. But if you're a young mother or you have another job that isn't, my job's flexible because it's a ministry job, and my husband runs the ministry center, and I used to do it with him, but I stepped back from that. And so I still am involved, but only part-time and only in the afternoons. So I'm able to be more flexible, but I'm in my 60s, and, I'm in a different stage of life, and my children are grown up and elsewhere. But I think, if you have young children, you're going to have to do the get up early and do it an hour before they get up. Or I have a friend who can do it at night, that just works for her. I think it's better to do 15 minutes every day than to not do it at all, honestly. Like some kind of consistency. And the more you do it, and even if it's just kind of garbage and you're going to throw it's like warming up, like your wife, she doesn't go, I'm going to go run a marathon every day. I don't know what marathon runners do, but I do know they don't do that. They have probably all kinds of different training things that they do, but she's doing something probably all the time so that she can show up and do the marathon. And writing a book is like a marathon, I'm sure, in the sense of like when you sit. So, but like to get there, you have to be having developed those muscles and those habits. But I love this one, I forget, some famous author that everybody would know if I could remember, like William Faulkner or somebody like that. But he said, somebody asked him about like, what do you do if you don't have inspiration? I forget even what the question was. He says, I remember the answer. I make sure I'm inspired every day at 10 o'clock at my desk, like the inspiration. And it's not like he doesn't wait to be inspired to write. He's like, that's whatever his time was, he'd sit down and he makes sure, you do everything else so that you're ready to go then. And then there's routines you can do. Like I start out by reading what I wrote yesterday. That kind of warms you up too. And usually when I leave what I wrote the day before, I like to, okay, I'm going to pick up here and I have a few ideas of where I'm going to go or what my problem is that I have to figure out before then. And I try not to think about it, but sometimes I'll be on a walk later and I'll be thinking about it. And that's okay if it just kind of comes naturally, but I try to give my brain a rest from it, but I think our brains continue to work on things a little bit. and that's cool. I'll be walking along. Yeah. In an ideal, I'll come and okay, thanks, Lord. Plus, I left this out. Most important part of all, the first thing I do every single time is pray and invite the Holy Spirit in it. Like I cannot do this without him flowing through me, writing. It's my brain and body and hands, but it's his inspiration. It's his gifts.
It's his gifts and talents that you're using.
Yeah. Right? And it's from him and it's for him. And so so that is literally the most important thing. And I do that first and just pray until I really am focused on him and fully invited him and, sensed his presence. And then other times when I'm writing, if I'm stuck, I'm like, okay, what do I say? Like, what do I do? And, and then there's other times I'll just go, okay, I'll just make something up and I start writing and I'm like, that's pretty good. And it's like the Holy Spirit's just giving me things that I didn't even plan to put in. I'm like, oh, that character is going to do that. Oh, that person just ran away again. And, and sometimes you edit those things out, but most of the time later, I'm like, those were great ideas. Thank you. And they did not come from me. Like they just kind of dropped in, but you still have to show up and do the work, so it's fun.
Are you one of the people that will, if you have an idea, you just record it, you talk into your phone at all, if you're walking somewhere? Because there's musician friends of mine that come up with lyrics and song stuff, and they'll just be anywhere at a grocery store. They'll just be like talking into their phone. Do you do that kind of thing too, just to make sure you get it?
I type it into a note in my phone, but yes, 100%, because if not, you will lose it. And sometimes I look back at even the note and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I wrote that down because I would not have remembered. And I think it really is inspiration from the Holy Spirit. You've got to catch it when it, and then you can put it down. And sometimes it's a good idea. Sometimes it's not something that's going to stay, but it'll lead you to something else. It's a whole process. So
I love it.